Welcome back to the Aiden Horner RC YouTube channel, everyone. Today we got a special video planned for you. Today, I will be showing you guys how to clean up your absolutely destroyed Nitro Buggy. So last time this bad boy was out on the track, it was our filmer, Justin. This is his car, not mine. So let's not get that mistaken. And it was actually the last time we had it out was you know, when you were just driving through all the mud holes at Larry's track, which was nice. So, prime position today to show you bad boys how to clean this John up. As you can see, it's absolutely ruined. And I always have you guys, Aiden, how do you guys get those cars looking so good? How do you get them so spotless? Well, I'm going to show you everything I do to get your absolutely destroyed Nitro Buggy to look just like mine when I show up at an event. So step one here, we're going to want to take out the engine and radio tray from the car. In this instance, if you do not have the factory team two-piece mount, it's best to use the ball head wrench to ensure the best possible chance at not stripping out these screws. Make sure you hook up both lines of the fuel line back to themselves so you don't have any fuel leakage. Next up, we uninstall the radio tray. It's important to remove your throttle steering servo horn while it's perfectly straight. That way, when you go to put it back on, you just make it straight. You don't have to reset your trim. Nice receiver pack, by the way. Glad this is the one for the car. Now that you've taken out the receiver tray and the engine, next up, take out the fuel tank. Try not to lose those screws. They can be slippery. All right, next step on the agenda, take off the wing and the shocks. Next up, we'll be removing the entire drive line from the car. All right, now when you have your car to this point, no driveline, no electronics, you want to pull out all the bearings. Sometimes they need a little bit of help. And I'll find that. And I'll find that one too. And I'll find that one as well. I don't think we put enough Loctite on this one, actually. Nice. Woo! I'll put some hair on your chest, boy. All right. And now that we have it with no engine, no electronics, no driveline, and just about no bearings, forgot about these ones. So we're going to want to take the steering rack bearings out, and in this process, we're also going to want to just completely remove the rear clip and the front clip of the vehicle. Make sure you do them both at the exact same time so the car just completely falls apart. Nice. Now that you have your car looking like this, here's where we can actually finally clean something. And you know, you want to just get it all in one trip. So just rear, front, chassis. And you know, normally I would just go out on my front lawn and use the power washer for this step, but it's 6 degrees outside and my hose is frozen. So we got the next best thing. And we'll come back to that in a couple hours. Use your best judgment, everyone, on how long you should let it sit in the shower for. But once you think the car is coated in a nice layer of water and that dirt's just coming right off and it's starting to look better, you want to get some helpers, you know. Mr. Clean in a simple green bottle specifically, along with WD-40 for that shine that we all know and love. Alright, so my bottle broke, so gonna have to get a new one. No! I'm keeping that running though. You know, just the more clean the better. We just want to focus more on that rear end right now. The front's nice and clean. Gotta go find another bottle. What a joke. Are you serious? Come on! This piece of junk. You gotta be kidding me. Alright, chat. So we're able to find a new nozzle off of Al's Simple Green. Just want to make sure we just work out all that Simple Green. Seems to all be out of there. You know, because Mr. Clean is just the superior product. So the car's been marinating like a turkey on Thanksgiving Day for quite some time. So we can actually turn the shower off at this moment in time. All right, so you have a pretty good coat on everything in the shower. It's nice and wet and ready to be cleaned. So what you want to do is you're going to want to grab your toothbrush to just give everything a nice scrub, make sure all that dirt's off of there. And just take it one piece at a time. And you know, just make sure that you really, it did in fact just get it all coated good. I mean, this is how you get that factory shine. I mean, would you just, it's so chemically in here. Oh, dude, I'm inhaling Mr. Clean right now. I'm literally breathing in Mr. Clean. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. There's some ventilation in here. It's all right, guys. I'm a responsible young man, so I will be cleaning out this sink. You just want to really just get in there. Just get in there, make sure every nook and cranny and crevice is just, and once you've just gotten in there, just really just make sure that everything is in fact nice and coated. Ooh. You let this marinate. You marinate like a spring chicken. You do the same thing with every item that you've encountered this whole trip. Yeah. My hands are too slippery. I can't even pull the trigger anymore. All right, that's backing up pretty fast. Just gotta really just get in there. Now you go get the fuel tank and everything else. So once you got the fuel tank and the shocks, you do the same thing. You know, just one at a time. Really make sure it's all nice and good. Really make sure it's all nice and good. I would not recommend using a sink like this for this, but you know, it's really all we have at the moment. If you have a sink in your garage or, you know, just an industrial sink that can take a little bit more of a beating, then I would use that. Is this bad for the shock? No, nope, not bad for the shock. The shock actually likes it. So once you get all four of these shocks, and then alright, so next up, you want to get your fuel tank. Really just get it just nice and good, just like everything else. Alright, looks pretty good to me. One more coat of Mr. Clean. Bag in the shower. And you just fire this bad boy right back up. Alright. Let that do its thing. Give it its privacy. That's when it does its best work. Alright, so you get a towel. Lay down all your externals. You know. You don't really want to just drench this in cleaning because it's your brake pads and you get a little gunky, you know what I'm saying? And you're just gonna have to just kind of do this by hand, like a little bit separately, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I don't know how you got the servos covered in mud, but it just is what it is, you know. Just little spritz shine, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, just be nice and delicate, nice and gentle with the radio tray, and you know, I would say that is ready to go back in the car. We're gonna do the same thing to the engine. But yeah, this stuff, you know, you could just kind of just get in there. Nice. Seriously, chat, zoom in on this. Nice. Just running into the mud holes head on. So once you got everything nice and pretty coated up, you know, nice and cleaned up. But the problem is it's just covered in Mr. Clean. That is when the air compressor is going to be your best friend. Just let it build some air. Maximum power. While we're waiting on this, we can play some more Fortnite. Loser! You can't pickaxe me! You can't pickaxe me! I'm a go! I'm a go! And at this point in time, I would say the car is looking pretty clean. You just really need to air compressor it to dry it off. But before you bust out the air compressor, you don't want to waste all of that top tier compression that you just built up. So you're going to want to get a nice clean microfiber rag. There was an engine in that. And just get it as dry as you can, you know. Little dop, that. We're just patting it off. We're just burping it. This is a little baby, and we're burping it. We're just burping it right now, like tap, tap, tap. You know, get it as dry as possible. All right, key focus points. You want to make sure you get as dry as possible, as much air blown in as possible, and all four pillow balls, all of the, you know, little ball joints, the hinge pins, the pills, anything that's going to be moving. You just want it to be as dry as possible. That way it's just not being bound up at all. And I'm not going to aim this at my bed because I sleep there. All right, we got to build some more air. All right, next up we pulled out the chassis. You know, there's not a lot going on with the chassis here, so we're just gonna want to towel dry it pretty good, and then get anything that we may have missed with the air compressor after we hit it with the towel dry. All right, now that you've cleaned everything, you can locate your bearings that you launched across the room. 1, 2, 3. Now, you know, this is also a good opportunity to just wipe the bearings off and just check them, you know, see if they need a little bit more oil, see if they need to be replaced. If they're just a little bit crunchy but not too bad, then we can always just revive them with some 1-Up Clear bearing oil, just a little. I mean, I didn't even check these, but yeah, I mean, they're good as new. LFG. All right. Once the bearings are back in your front and rear clips, we have to clean the drive shafts. I just use strictly WD-40 on these because I want them to be nice and lubed up and greasy feeling and nice and free. You know, nice little spritz of WD on there, and then just wash them around. And make sure you keep track of front and rear. In my hand, these are the rears that I've been keeping on the right, and then fronts for the left. And you are also going to want to keep in mind the left and right. If you have a hard time telling which is left and right, I would recommend marking them left to right, but you can easily tell by just the wear pattern on it. So basically, if the diff is like this, and this is your outdrive, the diff is spinning forward, pushing it forward like this. So basically, this side should be more flat spot than this side if it is for the left side. As you can see, this is a right side because this one is more worn than this one, meaning it's being pushed like this. So it goes on this side, and it was a front, so you put that back in there just like that, which would make this one the left side, which the wear pattern on the pins does line up for that. All right, once you got your drive shafts back in, we're gonna wanna put the diffs back in. It is important to make sure you just lube up these gears, and I know that you were a good boy and kept track of which one was front and rear. Like this one right here is a rear diff in my hand. You're just gonna wanna get a nice little coat of grease around this gear. That way you're not metal grinding and ruining your stuff out there. I use 1-Up Gold for the metal gears because it just works really good. I mean, you can clean your outdrives if you want to just look a little bit more pro. And you know, if we were getting really serious, then I'd rebuild these diffs and put in new fluid and re-grease O-rings. But you know what? This isn't a video on how to rebuild a car. It's a video about how to clean a car. And it looks pretty clean to me. Slide these bag jacksons back on like this. But as you can see, this beauty is already just coming back together. And then shortly after this, we will throw back in the radio tray, then the engine, then the shocks. And at some point, we might even put the center diff back in the car. Be gentle when you clean this because you don't really want to get spray on your brake pads because then they'll be all kind of gunky. So you kind of just want to just use a rag and just not totally destroy your life. Nice. Then you put your radio tray back in. And remember, you do not want to be pinching this wire down here. So make sure it's routed nice and safely. Make sure you hold the routing as you put it in. Remember, we took it off nice and straight. So we're going to put this thing back on nice and straight, and we should not have to make any adjustments to the radio. And I can't quite seem to find the screw for that. So we're just going to put in the other screws for now. All right. Now, once you got the diffs back in the car, you know, all the bearings are nice and in the car as well. Everything is nice and free, looking pretty clean for the most part. Nice. I don't really know how that happened, but we'll run it, you know. Once again, not my car, not my problem. Once everything's like this, all we're needing now is the engine and the shocks. I'm going to go grab the shocks out of the shower because they're still marinating. want to make sure your shocks are nice and dry. You don't really want them to be gunking up with all that gamey in there. So, you know, this is a little bit of a rush job because you guys don't want to just spend, you know, 25 million years watching me do this. So we're just covering the basics. Get them as clean as you can. Dry them off. Throw these joints back on. They look way better. All right. And that leaves us with the only thing left to take care of is the engine. As you can see, this engine looks like it has been through World War II and back 1,100 times. But you know what? The old ProTech RM Samurai will clean up good as new and be running like it did on day one in no time. And let me show you how to take that. So you want to just take your Mr. Clean. You know, this stuff is your right-hand man. There's a special way to clean the engine without ruining it. So what you want to do, you want to get your first microfiber and wrap it around the clutch. That way you don't get anything in the clutch. You don't want to mess up your clutch with water or anything like that. So you get it nice, fully enclosed. And then you do the same thing with the air filter. Because you don't really want to ruin, you don't want to get nothing inside your air filter either. So once you got these two like this, you wrangle them with one hand like that. Bam. Then you get your Mr. Clean. I need my toothbrush. Alright, chat, once you get your toothbrush, you quite literally just want to run some water under it. Prime it up. Do your best not to let anything get in those under the rags where you're holding this thing. Once you're done spraying it and running it under water, you can kind of just brush off the parts that you missed. And then, this is where the air compressor comes in handy. Once again, air compressor, your best friend. You're never going to have a better friend than the air compressor when you're cleaning off your car. And you're going to want to blow it all away from these two things right here. And try not to get too much in the carb either. All right, get your ball end 2.5 back out because Justin's just not cool enough to have the factory team 2-piece engine mount that makes this whole process way easier. And because we don't have that engine mount, what we're going to have to do is reset the gear mesh using these 4 screws. Also, what you're going to want to do is adjust your pipe height. That way there's just a little gap between the pipe and the side guard. You don't want it just resting on your side guard the whole time because it will kind of melt the plastic a little bit. And then you can kind of hook back up your fuel lines. And then would you just look at it? Would you just look at it? We have a cleaned up Team Associated RC8. This is a B4. Older model, but that's okay. Still cleans up, no problem. Now, Justin is going to be looking factory next time he goes to the track, at least until he does his first 2 laps. And like I said, full disclaimer. This is not how I would race prep a vehicle, and I don't actually put it in the shower every time. It's best if you have like a industrial sink in the garage or use a hose or whatever you want to do. I don't want you kids to be pissing off your parents by destroying the shower and the sink, but I just tried to demonstrate that you can just use water to clean it as long as you just spray a lot of stuff on there. And also, I didn't actually rebuild anything. Let's just make it sure you guys know that I didn't rebuild this car. I simply just cleaned it. And I would definitely not take it to a race without rebuilding the diffs and doing the clutch and maybe a new air filter. But this is how you get it nice and clean. It looks nice and good. You don't have to use the shower. You don't have to use the sink. You can use whatever you want. This is how I do it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe for more extremely informational content.